may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you state your name and spell it for the court reporter?
Yes, it's Lieutenant Thomas Leonard, Leonard.
And where are you employed?
With the Scott County Sheriff's Office.
And I think you touched on this, but what is your position there?
Lieutenant, currently over a third shift.
And what is third shift?
The hours of 11 o'clock at night till 7 o'clock in the morning.
And can you describe what the duties of a lieutenant is compared to standard deputy, for lack of a better term?
Pretty much like a watch commander. I pretty much oversee all the deputies or all the sheriff's operation during that time period.
And how long have you been a member of law enforcement?
17 years with Scott County, 22 years altogether in law enforcement.
And did you complete the police academy?
I did. In 2005, I completed the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy.
And are you a sworn peace officer in the state of Iowa?
Yes, I am.
And I assume you've been one since your graduation in 2005?
That is correct, sworn.
Were you on duty on the evening of March 13th into March 14th, 2024?
Yes, I was.
And were you dispatched to a single vehicle accident?
I was.
And do you remember what time that was?
That was roughly before the 2 o'clock, like 1:47, I believe the 911 call came in.
And that'd be 1:47 a.m.?
That is correct.
Where was the accident located?
It's located at the Davenport Municipal Airport. It was the entrance to the airport, so 90th and Harrison in Mount Joy, which is just north of Davenport or north of Interstate 80 there.
And what did you observe upon arriving on scene?
When I arrived on scene, I think that was at 1:55 a.m. when I arrived on scene. It was a silver Impala struck. There was a light pole with the concrete barrier. Struck that concrete barrier at probably, we don't know, rough speeds, probably around 45 miles an hour. That was the speed limit in that area. Severe front end damage to that vehicle at that location, and then I made contact with that individual at that time.
Okay. Staying on the location, what businesses probably isn't the right term, but what buildings were in the area or were close to that accident?
Well, like I said, it was the entrance of the airport, if that helps. Otherwise, it's the old Sears plant, used to be up in that general area. It would be just to the south of that. But otherwise, about half a mile to the west of Highway 61, which is 90th, that goes in that general area.
Are you familiar with a weather station?
The Quad City Weather Station or the Doppler radar, if that helps you guys, that's the location that would have been the entrance to where this took place at.
And you may have testified to this already, but was the driver on scene?
The driver was on scene, yes.
And where did you locate the driver?
The driver, when I originally located him, was unconscious or was coming to behind the driver's seat of that silver Impala.
And do you see the driver of that Impala in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you identify him and state an article of clothing he's wearing?
Yes, he'll be to my right here. He's got the black tie on with a gray shirt on.
May the record reflect the witness identified the defendant?
The record shall so reflect.
Did you make contact with the defendant?
Yes, I was the first person to make contact with him.
And at that time, were you able to identify who it was?
I didn't know who he was, but he was able to provide me at least the first name of Chris, and then we were able to identify his last name through the registered owner's last name.
And you stated he was, unconscious or coming to when you first approached him?
Yes, he was coming to, very dazed when I first made contact with him. But yes, coming to.
Did you make any other observations of the defendant as you arrived on to the vehicle?
As soon as I opened the door, the smell of an alcoholic beverage, very dazed. Definitely signs of intoxication is what I was observing.
And what did you do at that point?
Just asked him basic questions like where he was going, where he's coming from, things like that. Tried to get a feel of what was going on there. And then, of course, we're trying to get fire personnel there because of the accident. It was an unknown accident, to get him checked out.
Did he make any statements during this process?
Statements that he made was he did not know where he was going. He believed he was in the area of an auditorium along 80. He was believing he was at the hospital. I asked him why he didn't have shoes on. He didn't know that reason. There was a lot of statements that were made that weren't making sense to the whole situation, which I was trying to put together and investigate.
So he told you that he didn't have shoes on?
I asked him why he didn't have shoes on. He couldn't provide an answer to that.
Okay, so you observed him without shoes.
That is correct.
Did you observe shoes anywhere in the vehicle that he could have been wearing at some point?
Nowhere in his vicinity, no.
Did you see any weapons?
So as we got the seatbelt removed, things like that, before I turned over to fire personnel to have him checked out, there was a knife that was located at his feet. So I actually removed that knife for my safety and for his safety, so he wouldn't cut himself or anything like that on his feet.
At this point in the investigation, what potential crimes would you be investigating?
All we had right now was the operating while intoxicated.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Pending the witness must be marked. Pending the witness must be marked State's Exhibit 29. Have you put on a pair of gloves and then open that box.
All right.
And while you're doing that, make sure you don't show that to the jury until it's admitted in evidence.
That's correct.
Is it possible while he's doing so that he indicate what he's cutting through, just so the jury's informed?
That would, I'll ask the witness to do so.
Yes, so we have evidence to seal on here, so that makes sure the item isn't tampered with during that time period. So it's been sealed by the detective or the officer that ended up putting it in here. They initial it, case it, put a date on it, along with their badge number. So that way we know, make sure it's been not tampered with.
Okay. Do you recognize the contents of that box?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell me what it is?
This would be the knife that was located at the foot of the driver of that vehicle.
Okay. Do you recognize that as the knife that you recovered on in the early morning hours of March 14th, 2024 from that vehicle?
Yes, that's the knife I removed from the vehicle.
Okay. Your Honor, the state would move to admit Exhibit 29.
No objection, State 29, Your Honor.
Exhibit 29 will be admitted.
Okay. Permission to show it to the jury?
You may.
If you could show that knife to the jury.
Okay. Knife. Make sure all you guys can see it.
Okay. Thank you. I'll retrieve that and put it back on the table. The knife you just viewed, is that in substantially the same condition as when you first retrieved it from the vehicle?
So again, the weather that night was pouring down rain. So when I removed it, I took it outside the vehicle, put it on top, and put it on the trunk also. As I moved it throughout twice before I put it back in the vehicle, it would have had more blood on it at that point. But due to the rain, it was pretty much the blood came off.
And can you give us a sense for how hard it was raining that evening?
It was a good downpour during this whole situation.
So you said you retrieved the knife, you set it on the Impala?
Originally set it on top while the fire was dealing with him, and I also put it to the trunk at one point.
Okay. And what did you ultimately do with that knife?
Once we turned the driver over to medic for transport to the hospital, we realized it had nothing to do with what we were investigating, so I put it back in the vehicle to be towed away with the vehicle.
Who else arrived on scene other than you?
Right behind me, Deputy Turner, Jake Turner.
And were there medic personnel?
Yes, medic and fire personnel from Davenport Police or Fire Department.
Okay. Did you observe any injuries on the defendant on scene?
One of the questions I asked him if he was injured, if he had any pain, he indicated that he had pain to his waist area at that point, and then one of the fire chiefs of Davenport came over towards the end of my dealings out there and said that they found a laceration.
I'll have you stop right there.
Yep.
Did you personally observe any injuries?
I did not.
Okay. Were you wearing a body camera that night?
I was.
And was it functioning properly?
It was.
And have you reviewed that body camera footage from that evening?
I have.
And was it a fair and accurate depiction of what you observed?
It is.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
The witness must be marked as Exhibit 55, which is the body camera from that evening. You said it was a fair and accurate depiction of that evening.
It would be, yes.
Your Honor, the state moves to introduce the state's Exhibit 55.
Your Honor, I have no objection. I just want to indicate that this was provided to us prior to it being offered today in its redacted form, and we'd had an opportunity to review it in full. So again, we have no objection.
Exhibit 55 will be admitted.
Thank you. Permission to publish?
You may.
Okay, before I play the video, you see that pointer behind you?
Yes.
I want to point out a couple of things. First of all, in the upper right-hand corner, there's some, it says 3/14/2024. Would that be the correct date that this body camera footage is taken from?
That is correct, and time.
And then right after that, it says 01/54/51. That would be 1:54 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead and play it.
Can you wake up for me? Buddy, can you look at me? Are you alright?
Yeah.
You're in an accident. Do you know that?
No.
Where were you heading to? Do you know where you're at all or anything?
Yeah, I was on the auditorium.
Where were you heading, you think?
The auditorium.
The auditorium?
Yeah.
Where's the auditorium at?
The ADM. ADM.
What's your name?
Christian.
Chris?
Chris.
Ian?
Chris Behal.
Okay. Since I have a Chris, I don't have the last name yet. Alright, I'm going to have fire personnel check you out here in a second, alright?
Yeah.
Just seeing what else we have over there. Nothing over there? Alright. Whose car is this? You don't know whose car it is?
Nope.
Okay. Alright.
I'll see. He said his name's Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's him. That's the same last name. Alright. Can you hit the seatbelt over there for me?
Yeah.
Nothing on you, right?
Nope.
Okay, what hurts on you right now?
Nothing other than my waist bone.
Your waist hurts?
Yeah, my waist.
Your waist hurts there? Okay. All right. These fire guys are going to talk to you real quick. Make sure you're okay. I'm going to step out of the way.
Hi. I just recently dealt with it.
Oh, he's
99 too.
is he? I'm guessing he's wasted too. So he's on something.
I'm going to pause it right there for a moment. We're at, according to the time on the body camera, 1:56 a.m. and 57 seconds. We see another deputy or uniformed individual in the picture. Can you tell us who that is?
That would be Deputy Jake Turner.
Okay. I'll continue.
There's an auditorium. He's going to the auditorium by 80, wherever that's at. Oh, he's going to be transported, so we probably just... I'll take care of Fred's if you want to go to the hospital, read him, like him, sign, all that stuff. 96, go ahead and something here, Fred's. So where are you bleeding at down here? Your foot's all got blood on it. Where's your shoes at? Do you know where your shoes are at?
No.
Okay. Did you just jump in the vehicle from...
Yeah.
Where'd you leave from then?
Not sure.
Not sure? Alright. When you get... why is there's a knife down by your foot, so I want to make sure I move that, okay? So...
If you want to go foot, I'll put my foot
Alright.
in front of his mouth.
Alright. You didn't cut yourself tonight at all, did you?
Nope.
Alright. But you say you don't remember where you were coming from?
Nope.
Not at all?
Nope.
Girlfriend's house, your house, anybody's house?
Not really sure.
Okay. So do you know where you're at right now?
Hospital, I'm pretty sure.
Your hospital is where you're thinking at?
That's I'm pretty sure.
No. You're over by the airport.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how you got there?
Nope.
No? Okay. Alright.
Chris?
Beautiful weather for this.
Alright.
Okay, the knife you retrieved on that video, was that the same knife that you identified previously?
That would be the same knife, yes.
What did you do after this video ended as part of your investigation?
With this investigation, I pretty much did the accident report on this incident here, and then stood by until Fred's, the tow company, arrived so we could tow the vehicle away from there.
And at that point, did you clear the accident?
I did a little bit further investigation, trying to figure out why he was, the driver was at that location, because like I said, nothing was making sense what he was saying. Through our CAD system, which is our dispatch system, we could actually see local information on the driver. We could see where he lived at in prior calls. So I did a little bit of digging in there, and I actually had another deputy respond back up to 105 Crestview Drive, number 4, which was the registered known address for him and then his girlfriend, Taylor Escatores.
You said you dispatched another deputy to the 105 Crestview, apartment number 4.
That is correct.
What deputy did you dispatch to that location?
Deputy Raby is who I dispatched.
And for a court reporter, do you know how to spell Raby?
Raabe.
And do you recall when you would have dispatched Deputy Raby to that apartment?
I believe that was right around the 2:25 a.m.
And what, I guess, is it normal to dispatch a deputy to check a residence as part of an OWI investigation?
Not normal, but with what he was saying on scene, I wanted to make sure, figure out why he was coming from where he was coming from, things like that, and also to check on her to make sure she was all right also.
And are you aware of the outcome of that welfare check?
Yes, Deputy Raby called me back minutes later after he arrived there. He knocked on the door multiple times. He actually said he called the phone number that we had listed for Taylor, but no answer. I actually asked if there was anything suspicious, and at that point he indicated there was nothing suspicious at that residence.
At that time, was any further action taken with respect to that apartment?
Nothing for that apartment, no.
As far as you're concerned, was your OWI investigation over at that point?
It was turned over to Deputy Turner at that point, which followed medic to the hospital with the driver.
Okay, but your involvement, at least direct involvement, was done with the OWI investigation?
It was.
Was that your last involvement with the broader investigation that would later ensue?
Roughly a little bit before 4 o'clock a.m., I received a phone call or a request to call Deputy Turner, which was currently at the hospital.
And what did you do after being called by Deputy Turner?
I made contact with Deputy Turner, and he made a statement that
I'm not offering it for the truth, we're offering it so he can explain his investigative action.
When perceived by the jury as truth, I would just ask that you rephrase this question.
If you could rephrase the question, please.
Okay, without telling us what Deputy Turner told you, what were the next steps that you took in the investigation?
I made the decision that we're going to do a welfare check back at 105 Crestview Drive, number 4.
And did you dispatch, did you do that, or did you dispatch someone to do that, or how did that happen?
Pretty much my closest unit at that time was Deputy Slagle, S-L-A-G-L-E. Dispatched him to that address, and we arrived roughly around 4:12 a.m. We both arrived about the same time.
To the 105 Crestview address.
105 Crestview address, correct.
And I don't know if you've stated what town is that in?
That would be Parkview, so it actually has an Eldridge address, but it is actually Parkview, Iowa.
And you said you went to that apartment.
Correct.
What did you do when you arrived to that apartment?
Actually, I arrived with Deputy Slagle. I had him knock on the door. I believe it was at least twice. We announced ourselves, and then I had him check the door handle, because at that point we knew we were going to make a welfare check into that residence to make sure Taylor or any individuals in the apartment were okay.
Okay, so you and Deputy Slagle are immediately outside of that apartment, is that correct?
That is correct, apartment number 4.
And then at least one of you knocks on the door?
That is correct.
And was that you or Deputy Slagle?
Deputy Slagle.
Did anyone answer or respond to those knocks?
After, I think it was probably a minute or so, no answer, no movement. We were listening to make sure we could hear anything inside. We couldn't hear anything.
Okay, and did either one of you end up making entry to that apartment?
Yes, after we verified the door was unlocked, I had Deputy Slagle go ahead and make entry to that apartment.
And did you make any observations when he opened or made entry to the apartment?
The first statement that came out of Deputy Slagle's mouth was, "Oh shit," and then I asked what he had, and we found a deceased female right behind the door.
What happened then?
Pretty much I gave the order that we have to clear the apartment because we have to secure the scene. So both myself and Deputy Slagle made entry, secured the location, make sure that we had no other victims inside, and then no other people in the residence, and then we secured the residence at that point.
Okay, and you kind of touched on this, but what was the purpose of clearing the apartment?
Pretty much a safety check and for make sure we had no other people that were hurt in there, along with no suspects or any other individuals.
What observations did you make inside of the apartment?
As soon as we made entry, like I said, we had a deceased body up against the door. We had actually somewhat step over her to get in. Right away, we observed a baseball bat that was on the couch. There was a lot of blood, pretty much from the kitchen area to where the body was at. On the walls, it was a lot of blood.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Pending the witness what's been marked as State's Exhibit 23. I gotta have you put your gloves on, Lieutenant Leonard. And then here's a pair of scissors. You can narrate if you're breaking any seals, doing anything of that. I'll have you open that and look at it. Don't show it to the jury at this point.
Okay. got the one of the lab seal, which is from the Department of Investigations. Go ahead and cut that one, making sure that it hasn't been tampered with. We'll go ahead and, for you guys,
Okay, do you recognize that item in that box?
this would resemble the bat that was on the couch when we made entry that night.
Okay, and does it appear to be in substantially the same condition as when you first observed it in the apartment?
Of what I recall, yes.
Okay, and where was that located?
That was located on the couch, pretty much you can say the living room of that apartment. So right inside the door, the couch was there, and this was on the couch.
Your Honor, the state moves to introduce State's Exhibit 23.
No objection, State 23, Your Honor.
Exhibit 23 will be admitted.
Permission to publish.
You may.
If you could show that to the jury.
It's loose on the bottom down there, so I just want to make sure it doesn't fall out.
Okay, thank you. May I approach the witness?
You may.
Can you describe the bat when you found it that evening? Or did you make any observations of the bat other than it was a bat?
Just pretty much it was a bat. Like I said, we made entry just for the reasonings of securing it, and then we got out of that residence just so until we can get a search warrant later on, and then we can do our investigation.
Okay.